Hi everyone, welcome to the Celebrity Diaries. Florence Ballard, it's a story of a men's ability, significant battle, and the versatility of a lady whose life was essentially as convincing as her voice. This is a story you would rather not miss. Florence Ballard, known for her job as an establishing individual from the Supremes, had amassed a total asset of $400,000 by the season of her passing. Her melodic gift spanned different kinds, for example, R&B, pop, soul, and dupe. Regardless of being a driving force inside the gathering, she kept a faith and balance among its individuals, pushing for fair compensation and treatment for everybody anyway. Her blunt nature and compelling conclusions, which had at first characterized her administration inside the gathering in the long run, prompted struggle. She transparently communicated disappointment when it became apparent that Barry Gordy, the head of Modam, was inclined toward Diana Ross as the lead artist. This inclination profoundly impacted Ballard genuinely, as she had devoted her whole existence to the gathering. She felt frustrated, and double-crossed opinions intensified by the difficulties of the music industry. These individual and proficient battles at last took a cost for her, adding to a shocking account of ability eclipsed in dreams unfulfilled known for her insubordinate soul. It was this very nature that at last prompted her ejection from the gathering anyway. There was more to her excursion than meets the eye. Florence's easygoing, honorable nature left her defenseless against abuse, especially by those nearest to her, like her better half, Thomas Chapman. Many accepted that he was only intrigued by her abundance, a thought that cast a shadow over their relationship. The heaviness of double-crossing and misuse she persevered all through her lifetime became agonizing, raising doubts encompassing her inauspicious passing at the young age of 32. The reason an unexpected respiratory failure came about because of coronary apoplexy left a large number scrutinizing the conditions encompassing her passing. Was she becoming a bother quieted to secure secret bits of insight, or did her sad ruin originate from a reckless way filled by the torment of disappointment, misery, and furthermore, destitution? Florence Glenda Ballard was brought into the world on June 30, 1943, in the lively city of Detroit, Michigan. Her folks, and, furthermore, Jessie Ballard were essential for an enormous family raising a sum of 13 or conceivably 15 kids. Florence had various kin, specifically Bertie Cornell, Jesse Jr., Gilbert, Geraldine, Barbara, Maxine, Billy, Calvin, Pat, Linda, and Roy. Growing up, their family lived in Rosetta, Mississippi, where Florence's mother actually dwells anyway. It was her father's fascinating origin story that added a hint of secret to her genealogy. Jessie Ballard, initially named Jesse Lambert, was brought into the world in Better, Alabama. Sadly, his grandma's life was stopped at the point when she was shot and killed, prompting Jess' reception by the Ballard family at the young age of 13. Jesse left his new parents behind and set out on his own. His destiny interceded when he encountered LLY. Florence's mom, who was only 14 at the time their ways united in Rosetta, and they participated in an undertaking that would alter the direction of their lives everlastingly in 1929. As part of the prestigious Incredible relocation, the Ballard family pursued an earth-shattering choice to migrate from Rosetta to the clamoring city of Detroit. This relocation was a critical development of African Americans from the country's south to metropolitan regions in the north, chasing better financial open doors and an escape from racial separation. Sadly, Florence's initial years were set apart by different tragic misfortunes. Her sibling Roy unfortunately lost his life at the youthful age of 3, a survivor of an overwhelming alcoholic driving episode. Besides, her mom experienced the tragedy of losing twins, who died at only 5 months old too, as another girl who passed on during early stages. These agonizing encounters, without a doubt, formed Florence's point of view on life and impacted her creative excursion. In the midst of the difficulties, Florence found comfort in music because of her dad's enthusiasm for it. Jesse, a beginner performer himself, lighted Florence's adoration for singing. He shared his immense collection of melodies with her, and, surprisingly, went with her on the guitar this early. Openness to music turned into the establishment for Florence's future achievement as a capable performer. The Ballard family experienced monetary battles that required incessant movements inside Detroit. Ultimately, when Florence turned 15, they got comfortable. The Brewster Douglas Lodging Project, a local area known for its strength and lively creative scene anyway. The accompanying year brought one more destroying blow as Jessie Ballard capitulated to malignant growth, leaving a void in Florence's life. Allow us to dig further into the existence of Florence Ballard, known warmly as Blondie or Flo by her friends and family. She went to Northeastern Secondary School, where her enthusiasm for singing started to come to fruition under the direction of vocal mentor Abraham Silver. It was during her time at center school that Ballard ran into a capable little kid named Mary Wilson. What's more, they immediately framed a first transport that would persevere all through their lives. Their bonds fortified as they proceeded with their schooling at Northeastern Secondary School. From a youthful age, Florence held on to fantasies about becoming an expert vocalist, her yearnings driven her to try out for a spot in the Primes, a sister gathering and neighborhood sensation in Detroit. Oversaw by the prestigious Milton Jenkins, intrigued by her ability, Ballard was acknowledged into the gathering, and she burned through no time in convincing her companion Mary Wilson to go along with them. Paul Williams, an individual from the Primes who might later turn out to be essential for the enticements, additionally enrolled with the assistance of another neighbor, a young lady named Diana Ross, who was then utilizing the name Diane with the expansion of Betty McGlown. The first setup was finished, and Jenkins dedicated them the Primates. In the beginning phases of their vocation, the Primates exhibited their abilities at different ability shows and school parties, leveling up their abilities and building a nearby building. Continuing in 1960, they took a huge step in the right direction by trying out for the unbelievable Moan Records. Barry Gordy, the head of Moan, perceived their true capacity yet encouraged the gathering to move on from secondary school prior to giving it one more shot, while Ballard's bandmates paid attention to Gordy's recommendation and finished their schooling. Florence made the hard choice to exit secondary school to seek after her melodic dreams. Unfortunately, that very year, Florence Ballard encountered a nerve-wracking episode that would perpetually influence her life later, leaving a sock jump occasion at the Greystone Assembly Hall in Detroit. She was purportedly assaulted at Blade Point by a neighborhood secondary school basketball player named Reggie Harding. The attack happened in a vacant parking garage off Woodward Road also. The horrible accident left Ballard crushed, overpowered by dread and despair. She withdrew into detachment, locking herself away from the world, worried for their companion's prosperity. Mary Wilson and Diana Ross became stressed over Ballard's abrupt withdrawal. Reggie Harding, the individual associated with Florence Ballard's horrible episode, had his own grieved past. Conceived on May 4, 1942, he confronted a troublesome beginning in life when his teen mother was constrained to surrender him for reception. Hezekiah and Fanny Harding, companions of the family, who really focused on undesirable kids, turned into Reggie's new parents in spite of this new family. Harding's experience growing up was not even close to simple. Being the main dark kid on the ranch, he confronted consistent prodding because of his level and skin variety, which made him long for the recognizable environmental factors of Detroit's coarse roads, longing to get back to his foundations. Harding made a careless choice. He took the rancher's truck and set out on an excursion back to Detroit, leaving behind the provincial life that had never genuinely embraced him anyway. The shortfall of a steady dad figure and the difficulties he confronted growing up drove him down a grieved way. Harding's encounters in the city formed him into a domineering jerk who frequently designated more youthful people. His life came up short on direction and construction that might have guided him in an alternate bearing, notwithstanding his wild childhood. Reggie Harding had extraordinary ability, especially in baseball. He was recognized as one of the nation's top abilities during his time in any event, playing for famous groups like the Detroit Cylinders and Indiana Pacers anyway. The upset life he had driven ultimately found him on September 1, 1972. Harding's life was unfortunately cut short when he was shot 2 times in the head via Carl Scott, a man with whom he had contended only 20 minutes earlier and hurried to Detroit General Clinic. Reggie died at 1:30 p.m. MEST the following day before this occurrence. He had additionally spent time in jail, further featuring the difficulties he faced all through his life. Harding is one of the gifted people who battled to see his place on the planet. In spite of his abilities, he stayed a loner, attracted to the charm of city life and its enticements. Returning to Florence Ballard's story, her horrendous experience drove her to pull out of the world for a really long time. She separated herself, declining to answer calls from her concerned bandmates to add to the disarray. Her mom informed them that Flo presently did not wish to sing with them without giving any clarification. This unexpected change left the gathering guessing, with some, in any event, thinking that Ballard's mother might have interceded, concerned about her girl's commitment to singing to the detriment of her examinations in the weeks. Thanks for watching this video.